Well, hello class. Today I wanted to go over, just kind of review, I guess, the setting up of the queries. A lot of you seem to be able to set them up pretty well, so I was really pleased with that. I felt like everybody helping each other out in class, that was a good thing. So very good. Kudos to everyone for the hard work that you all put in. And so hopefully I think everything's showing up on the screen that we need to have show up. So you see all of our tables are listed here. Right now we have no queries. So we want to go to our Create menu item. And don't pick Query Wizard, click Query Design. Say that 10 times fast. Okay? Now remember what I told you. You have to know where you want to go in order to be able to get there. And so that means that in order to generate what you ultimately want to generate, which in this case is the income statement, you need to follow the accounting logic to get there. And so the first thing we want to do is figure out what the revenues are. Now we know that the project requires us to determine the revenues by store and then the revenues for the whole company. So in order to do that, we need to bring in the sales table. So we look here and we pick the sales table. And then the other table we need is the sales item table because that contains our detail. And so we can close it out. Again, if you want to enlarge these things, you can. And you can even separate them or center them, whatever you want to do. Whatever makes it easier for you to work with these. So I'm just going to enlarge these a little bit. And so now we can see all of our fields that are available to us in each of the tables. So to generate what we need, this is going to be a query based on these two tables. We're basically going to be coming up or summing the total for each sales and sales item. Okay, and then summarizing it or grouping it a number of different ways. So down here in this area, this is our working space down here. So we have field, table, we have an option to sort, we have the option to show or not show that particular field in our final result. We can also establish criteria that we can use. The other thing we can do is we can calculate new fields that didn't previously exist, or we can edit existing fields that need to be edited. In this case, we're going to see one where that is the case. Okay, so first we need to select order, and you can double click on it. Notice it comes up down here, order number, sales number. We want to be able to get some kind of a total. So we got to right click on your mouse and then select total. And you want the group by. So group by is the first option. It automatically comes up. And so that's all we need for that one. So you have order number from the sales table. Right click to get the total line. And then select group by and show. The second one will have the customer number. So we'll come up to sales, click on customer number, it's sales, group by, and show. That's fine. The next one we want is sales date. Okay, and for that one, again, sales date is from the sales table, and we're going to group by it. But in here, we want to add a criteria. So we come down to the criteria line, and we want to go ahead and type in our criteria. We want everything from the first quarter. So we want to type between, and then the pound sign, 1, 2020. Oops, no, that's this year, 2018. Pound sign to close it, and space, and then pound sign, 3/31/2018 with the pound sign. And so now we've established criteria, so it's only going to choose transactions that have a sales date that is between 1/1/2018 and 3/31/2018. That just assures us that we only get data for those transactions that occurred during the reporting period of interest. Also, if you want to see the whole field, if you come up here, you can select on these things. There we go. Oops. There. And you can pull it over. Once you get that icon right there, you can kind of pull it over. And now you can see the whole field. So you can do that. All right, next we want the cash receipt. So we can click down instead of clicking on it, and you can look up the cash receipt. Okay, but we don't have to. We can come over here and just again double click on cash receipt. It's on the sales table and it's group by, and we want it to show. Next, we want the store number. So we look for store number, sales, group by, and show, and that's fine. Then we want the ship rate per order. This is for the internet sales, and we want that because we need to add the cost to ship to the cost of the sale to come up with the total. So, and it's also sales and group by for that. And then we have another field where we're going to have an expression. It's a simple expression, but an expression all the same. In here, what we're going to type is sales items amount colon item. Oops. Let's type that. Item amount. Okay. And so that is going to help us summarize. And we don't want to group by anymore. What we want it to do is we want it to sum those. Okay. And that's coming from the sales item table. Okay. And then we go to the very next cell over here. And this one we're going to create, using Builder, another expression. Now, the issue is if you go back and you look at the ship rate per order field, there's a lot of null values, meaning there's nothing in the cell. It only shows up when it's an internet sale. But for the sake of being able to add what's in the ship rate per order plus the sales items amount together, there has to be a value in every field. And so we need to go in and put a 0 wherever there's a null. And so this is going to help us do that. So we are going to do the following. I'm going to type in total revenue colon space VAL, which is it returns the number contained in a string as a numeric value of appropriate type. In this case, it will return a 0 because that's what we're going to tell it to return. Then we put a parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we're going to put another function, NZ. This returns 0, a 0-length string, or another specified value when a variant is null. So this is defining it. So the val is going to return it. This one's telling it what to return. And then we will tell it what to return. So we need to open up another. And then we need to put in, okay, what is our variant? Well, it's a field. So we want to put a bracket and then do ship rate per order and then close the bracket. Close the bracket, put a comma, and then the 0. And then close the parentheses. Okay? And so that takes care of that function. Then you want to put another parentheses to close the entire NZ statement. And then the plus sign, bracket. And then we want to put the sales items amount. And close the bracket. And we click OK. We don't want it to group by. What we want now is we want an expression. So we click on expression. So when we save this query, which we can do, save, we want to save this query as sales revenue detail quarter or Q1. Okay, so now we have that. So when we're done, we click run. And we get our values. Okay, and this has summed it. Okay, and again, this ship rate field has some values for certain sales, but not for others. And so what we've done essentially is treated all these nulls as zeros so that we can do the sum properly. Okay? So that's the first query. The second query you'll run is going to be the income statement sales revenue by store. So we come back to create, click query design, and this time what we want is we want the stores table and then we want sales revenue detail. And close. And we'll enlarge these. So, what we're going to do here is we are going to we're going to click on store number. So I'm looking for store number. There it is. From stores, we're going to do the right click and totals and group by, and we're going to show. Then over here, we're going to take the total revenue, okay? But what we want to do here is we want a builder to come in, and we're going to call this revenue, and we're going to define it as total revenue, which comes from the table. And so it automatically identifies it with our query and a group by. Okay, but we don't want a group by. So on this one we click, I'm going to change it to sum. Okay, and then with this query, we want to go ahead and we want to save it. And we're going to call it IS for income statement, sales revenue by store. And click OK. Alright. And then we click run. Boom. And there's our totals. And these should check against the totals I sent in the email for the checklist. Now, these two queries that you ran, these two queries, detail first and then the summary by store, these are going to be similar to what you're going to have to run for the rest of the items. And we'll talk about that in the next video that I put together. But I don't want this to run more than 15 minutes. So again, you can watch this if you want, again, if you need to. But this is to help you understand the basics of query construction.